What's going on, everybody? My name is Jake, and welcome to the UFC Vegas 114 Vallejos and Josh Emmett recap. And hey, man, I'm going to start this off. Put some respect on my name here. You know, the first time we did the just pure picks, because I wanted to get some extra content out there, and some content that maybe YouTube allows me to promote a little bit more since it has nothing to do with the bets. Hey. 13 out of 14. I'm going to put it like right there. 13 out of 14 with getting just a pure who I think's going to win. Now, I don't really look at a main event, for example. Picking a 5, almost 6-1 favorite is not exactly a flex, but we got the underdog with Eric Anders, got some of these closer lines like Charles Johnson, right? Hector Souza, So I was feeling good, Pierre Rodriguez at the very start. So, yeah, really good card for us. There's an updated ROI, the last 3 cards as well. Back-to-back winning weeks now, back-to-back pretty good winning weeks. So now we're feeling good with the betting so far this year. And, again, I keep throwing out these bonus bet sprinkles. Basically, they're like hedgy bets, and I'm getting really close to some of them, but not hitting them. But at the end of the day, they're bonus bets. I don't really mind. It just makes my record look a little misleading. But as far as the more confident picks and the wagers I'm putting down, the last 2 weeks have gone well. So would have been so good if Umar Sy didn't get choked out by fucking Ion Cutelaba. And of course, I was thinking about just betting him to win in round 1, Cutelaba, but instead I did the knockout TKO in round 1 or 2. I just did not see him submitting Umar Sy, but he submits him with a guillotine in round 1, and it was a quick tap. So that was the only fight we got wrong as far as a pure pick goes, and yeah, had a pretty good card. So let's go ahead and run through these top to bottom, or bottom to top, rather. Pierre Rodriguez and Sam Hughes. Rodriguez completely dominated this one, was throwing heavy power shots, looked really good on the feet. Sam Hughes really had nothing for her. I thought Rodriguez was going to get her out of there, so I was a little bit worried that might cost pretty much all of our plays on this, because we had Rodriguez decision, which that ended up hitting, the fight to go the distance parlay piece, and then the Sam Hughes plus 5.5, which didn't hit regardless, but it would have definitely not hit had she gotten knocked out. So at least it did go to the scorecards. Rodriguez looked really good. I think you give her an opponent in the rankings next. And Sam Hughes just looks so much slower. But good for Pierre Rodriguez. We get a plus money hit on her to win by decision. And the fight to go the distance parlay piece cashed as well. Next fight was Hector Souza and Luan Lacerda. This was a really fun fight. Not at all, I was expecting Souza being the one trying to get the striking going, but Luan Lacerda was, standing and banging too. And it's just a shame that, it seems like just based off of reading Twitter that this same thing happened for most people, but the audio went out from like midway through the second round for the rest of the fight. It was just mute. The ads and everything still had sound, but the actual fight didn't. So, we had to watch in silence the, last round and a half. And as someone who had Luan Lacerda knockout or decision, I really wanted to hear the judges' scorecards. And I was pretty confident going into that, that Souza won at least 29-28. I don't know if there's a 30-27 sprinkled in there, but this was a really fun fight. Souza definitely looked, better on the feet, but Lacerda was standing banging with him, and Souza just did a great job when he was getting taken down, just getting right back up and not allowing Lacerda to get any submission attempt to, pass guard and, change positions and try to get a more favorable spot. So really good debut win for him. This was a super fun fight. It's just a shame the audio went out. But, so Souza knockout or decision hit for us. Next fight was Bia Mesquita and Montse Rendon. And goddamn, did she look more than a 7-1 favorite. She was the biggest favorite on the card. Made this look easy. I mean, drops Rendon early in the first and then starts to get the ground and pound. I was like, no, give up your back, give up your back, give up your back. And finally she does, and Mesquita sinks in the rear naked choke pretty quickly. You got to get this girl fighting in the rankings because, she's obviously a very talented prospect, but she's not prospect age. She's like 34 or 35. So we got to get her in the rankings. fighting better opponents now and rather than waiting. Yeah, she can't be fighting, Monse Rendones and Irina Alexeyevas anymore. She needs to be fighting, top 10 opponents. So hopefully that's next for her. But yeah, Bia Mesquita on the sub. That was exactly plus 100. Easy hit there. And yeah, I was really feeling good after that fight. Next one was Eric Anders and Brad Tavares. This was another super fun scrap. Honestly, the fights on this card fucking ruled, man. This card was awesome to watch. This fight was awesome between two OGs. We got the Eric Anders almost knocked out Brad Tavares in the first round. Tavares dropped Anders in the second, but then Anders recovered and got some control time. And then that second round, just did enough, in that third round, just did enough to win the fight 29-28. I thought it was pretty clear, and that's what the judges saw as well. And it turned out to be his retirement fight. So, I can thankfully say, hey, I cashed on Eric Anders as an underdog in his retirement fight. Yeah, good for him. Brad Tavares, hopefully they give him an opponent where he can break that middleweight wins record. But yeah, this was a good scrap between the OGs. I'm glad nobody got put out. I want to see the UFC do this more often rather than just feed the veterans to prospects to get sparked in the first round. I know that's how you build up prospects and build up hype, but let the old guys fight each other more often because this was an awesome fight. I know sometimes, I can think of one off the top of my head, like Michael Chiesa and Court McGee at UFC Atlanta, where it was just a fucking snooze fest. So I know not every time the OGs fight, it's going to be entertaining, but this one was. So good for both these guys, but really good for Eric Anders, A, to cash our bet, and B, to win his last fight in the UFC. Next fight was Manuel Souza and Balaji Oki. I don't know how we didn't get the under 2.5 rounds here. Maybe should have just played the fight to not go the distance. What I'm really kicking myself on is not just playing the fight to end by knockout. I know Souza, however you pronounce it, was going for Kimura there in the first round. But this was a super fun fight too. Manuel Souza, he looks like he's going to be a problem. Yeah, this was a really, really fun fight. I really hope they build this guy up. Maybe he breaks into the rankings sooner rather than later and possibly gets that Mauricio Huffy rematch. But obviously, Souza's got some work to do to get up there in the rankings, and Huffy's, maybe a couple of fights away from possibly a title shot. So, but maybe down the line we can see that. This was a really fun fight, though. Don't really, knock Balaji Oki for this as much. Souza looks like he's going to be a legitimate guy. But yeah, super fun fight. Next one was Elijah Smith and Soo Young Yu. Elijah Smith submission was not on my bingo card. I thought he was going to get the knockout. Obviously, I had him by decision. And yeah, but I was pretty high on him as a prospect. I like Soo Young Yu as well, but I just think Elijah Smith was much the better athlete. And the striking was definitely on the side of Elijah Smith. Soo Young Yu had a ton of takedowns in that first round, but he just could not hold down Elijah Smith at all. And Elijah Smith, rocks him in the second round and takes the back and gets the rear naked choke. So really, really impressive from him. Fortunately, we didn't really hit anything because I had obviously a decision line and decision or knockout TKO. But this was still really, really fun fight to watch. And, I think Elijah Smith give him maybe another fight outside the rankings, but then after that, this kid's 23, maybe 24, so he could be a really, really promising young star at bantamweight. So I'm really, really excited to see where his career continues to go. And even Soo Young Yu, I don't think is terrible. Just was outmatched in this fight. So good for Elijah Smith. Next fight was a super fun one, and another one where I'm shocked we didn't get a finish. Vitor Petrino and Steven Asplund. Petrino tried to get the takedowns in round one, and credit to Steven Asplund. He wasn't going down, and he had Petrino rocked. And, credit to both these guys, honestly, because Petrino was rocked, but, he recovered and then was just landing the much more damaging shots. Really good with the counters, and the speed was just much more on the side of Petrino. I think Asplund, he gets guys out of there with the volume, not necessarily because of the power, but just because when he gets guys hurt, he's throwing just endless combinations, and eventually you go out on your feet when that's coming at you. But power definitely on the side of Vitor Petrino, and athleticism as well. But hey, man, like I said, regardless of the outcome of this fight, I was going to be rooting for Steven Asplund for the rest of his career. Sean Sheriff is fighting fucking Tai Tuivasa. If Sean Sheriff wins that fight, Sheriff's the guy that lost to Steven Asplund, and Sean Sheriff is ranked, just no hope in the heavyweight division. If that's the case, Asplund should be fighting a ranked guy next. Maybe give him fucking, I don't even know who you give him at heavyweight. Marcin Tybura is already booked. Tai Tuivasa is booked now. Shamil Gaziev maybe, but that's who I'm seeing people want Vitor Petrino to be booked against, which makes sense. But yeah, Asplund, this was a really, really fun fight, and I think the judges got it right. It really seemed like the judges, especially in these Vegas cards, have a set criteria where damage is most valuable, and it was clearly Steven Asplund taking the most damage. I mean, his face looked like hell at the end of that fight, and Vitor Petrino was relatively clean. So I was hoping, when Asplund slipped and fell down and Petrino took his back in the second round, that he was going to be able to sink in a rear naked choke, but not to be. Is what it is. At the end of the day, I was not having a ton on this one, but I did have the parlay with him and Charles Johnson, like I said, so I'm glad that one hit. But this was a really fun fight. For some of these fights where I don't really have a strong winner, but I'm projecting it to be fun, I'll place my bets, but I'm not putting a lot of stakes because I just want to watch to be able to enjoy the fight, and that was the case here. This was the third to last prelim. The prelims were delivering in a big way up to that point. Next fight, though, wasn't exactly exciting, but it was impressive to watch and made me feel really good because this was one of my bigger stakes. Mictabek Orolbai to beat Chris Curtis, specifically by decision, but his money line parlay piece, because again, I got it. He opened at like minus 270 or so, and I jumped all over that. So I think by fight's close, there's a couple fights that had some big line movement. Like I think Jose Delgado got up to close to 6-1 by the time his fight started. Elijah Smith was another one where his odds got up close to 3-1. Eric Anders went from underdog to, I think it was a pick'em. So there's a couple fights that there were some big line moves before. I want to say Mictabek Orolbai was up to like maybe minus 350 by the time their fight started, if not longer. But what do you do? Set the welterweight record for takedowns with like 19. Absolutely insane. Chris Curtis had nothing for him. And of course, after the fight, Chris Curtis is like complaining, saying, I fought a guy with no intention to, be in there to fight, whatever he said. He got bullied. And like I said, I don't like Chris Curtis at this weight class. I love Mictabek Orolbai at this weight class. I'm super high on the caveman here. And again, he's one of these guys that he seeks out, submissions or, at least some damage on the ground. He's not just laying, praying. It was really impressive to watch. Again, not the most exciting as far as, especially coming after the Petrino and Asplund fight. This might have been a letdown for some people, but as someone who had Orolbai by decision and his money line on parlays, I was all for it. I thought the first round was a 10-8. I had it 30-26 for Orolbai. Judges gave it 30-27. Either way, we were comfortably winning this one. And he's going to be a problem at welterweight. I'm hoping he gets a ranked fight here within his next couple. Get him in his top 15, maybe even top 10. Next fight was the main card opener, Charles Johnson and Bruno Silva. Energy wins a split decision. We don't get the fight to not go the distance to hit, but the Charles Johnson Vitor Petrino parlay hits. This was a really fun fight. Again, just based off of damage, I had this 29-28 Charles Johnson. I'm really surprised one judge gave it 30-27, but yeah, I'm honestly surprised neither guy got knocked out. I know Bruno Silva had some good combinations in there that maybe could have got Charles Johnson out of there, but he looks like he's fully recovered from his knockout to Alex Perez. And, calling out Brandon Royval after the fact might be a little steep. Asu Almabayev even as well. I don't know who you match up Charles Johnson with, but, he's just one of these guys that he loses fights he's supposed to win. He wins fights he's supposed to lose. 50-50 fights, you never really know. So it's really unpredictable with him, but I enjoy watching him fight. He looked good. Feel good for him taking this fight. Really kind of a quick turnaround after that knockout and getting a win over a very dangerous opponent. I don't know what else you do, but like I said, I'm still a believer in the Charles Johnson top 10 push here at flyweight. So hopefully they match him up with someone higher in the rankings and, maybe he gets a win. Next fight was my biggest disappointment of the night. Umar Sy and Ion Cutelaba. I had Umar Sy money line, by finish, by sub. All those missed, obviously. And, of course, Cutelaba, I had knockout in round 1 or 2. Not just him to win in round 1. He gets the mounted guillotine, and Umar Sy is now back to fraud check status. Not that Cutelaba's bad, but I just thought Sy was going to have such the size advantage, was going to be able to get this fight to the ground, do whatever he want. And it looked like, he was getting back on top, and then he put his neck in a very bad area. And Cutelaba, they were saying on the broadcast that he just has more experience and knowledge in those positions, and that really showed. And I had a parlay, on this card where it was my most confident picks. It was Miktabek Oralbai, Umar Sy, Jose Delgado, which that was a fucking sweat that we'll get to, and Kevin Vallejos, and that would have won like over $100, and that missed. But thankfully, obviously we made out good in the end anyway. But I would have been feeling really good coming into this video if Umar Sy didn't get choked out. But it is what it is. I don't know. I still think he could be all right. He just needs to, I don't know, maybe his fight IQ isn't very good, or I'm not sure. But Ion Cutelaba, man, I don't really like the guy, but I respect him for this performance. He looked really good, and he's always going to be live, especially early. So I'm kicking myself for not just taking him to win outright in round 1. I tried to get cute and have a specific method of victory, and it cost me, but it is what it is. Good for Cutelaba. Next fight, what a fucking banger this was, man. Marwan Rahiki and Harry Hardwick. And boy, did I get lucky here. We had the Rahiki money line, Rahiki KO, TKO, and fight to not start round 3. All of those cash because Hardwick withdraws, or however you want to say it, going into the 3rd round with a broken jaw. I think he won the 1st round, Hardwick, and I don't know how the fuck he didn't get knocked out in the 2nd round. This dude's clearly tough everywhere but the legs. But yeah. This was a really, really fun fight. Rahiki's going to get knocked out in the UFC. I'm telling you that right now. His striking defense leaves a lot to be desired. I really hope they give Harry Hardwick one more fight. Maybe he's on a 3-fight deal. I hope they give him one more, and against a guy that maybe he's a more even, pick-em odds. I know the UFC probably doesn't, not even probably, they definitely don't make matchups based off of what the betting odds will be, but I hope he gets in there against a guy that he's a little more favorable matchup with. I mean, he took Rahiki's back in that 1st round and, was threatening with the subs, but Rahiki, this is why I liked him going into this fight, even as one of those young undefeated Contender Series guys, because he's been through adversity in his Contender Series fight. So when shit hits the fan, he's not just going to fold. That's the case here. He just kept throwing. Again, I don't know how the fuck Hardwick wasn't knocked out in the 2nd round. Obviously he, throws in the towel, whatever you want to say, going into the 3rd and cashes us on all fronts. So thank you, Harry Hardwick. But awesome fight. But I'm telling you right now, Rahiki's going to be finished in the UFC pretty sooner rather than later, I'd say. But either way, awesome fight. And one that was really, really good for our sportsbook accounts. This next one was almost a big loser because Jose Delgado was probably, when his line came out at minus 290, when the odds initially dropped, that was one of my biggest parlay pieces, was Delgado money line. And he almost got finished in the 1st round, but I had a good feeling he was going to rally because he got dropped by Nathaniel Wood. I know he obviously lost that fight, but again, guy who's been able to fight through adversity. And then he started getting some serious damage going in the 2nd round. Every round, Andre Fili was able to end it with a takedown. I didn't think it hurt him in the second round. I think Delgado won that second round pretty clearly, even despite of the takedown at the end. That third round was close, and I was really worried that the takedown was going to be what gave Andre Fili the fight. Apparently, one judge saw it that way, but Delgado gets the split decision win. So the only thing we hit in this was the Delgado moneyline parlay piece, but that was my most confident pick, my biggest wager on this. Delgado knockout, no. Delgado by finish, no. And fight to not start round 3, obviously did not hit because it went to a decision. I was sweating listening to the Joe Martinez read off the judges' scorecards because I was with some of my friends watching the fights, and we were about to go out to a bar because it's like pre-St. Patty's Day weekend. So I'm like, all right, let's watch this fight because this is like my most confident pick on the card. Watch this, then we'll go out to the bars and I'll watch the last 2 fights there. And like I'm about to order my lift, I got all my shit on, and I'm just sweating watching this, listening to the judges' scorecards. Thankfully, it goes Jose Delgado. I thought he won the fight, obviously, biased, with my bet, but I thought it was 29-28 Delgado, and 2 of the judges saw it that way, and that's all we needed. But Andre Fili, man, he's not an easy veteran to get through. He showed that here. Delgado maybe slow down on his hype train a little bit, but again, I like his ability to survive through adversity and rally and take those last 2 rounds and get a win against a solid, proven veteran. So I'm not going to knock him too much. At the end of the day, he won the fight. But I know a lot of people probably lost money because they were projecting him to win by knockout. I'm in that with you. Thankfully, we had the parlay piece. So next fight, Julian Robinson, Amanda Lemos. To be honest, I did not watch much of this fight because I was either in a lift or at the bar. And my only bet on this was Robertson sub or decision. And I just remember when I was watching this fight, pretty much outside the first round, every point that I was watching this, Julian Robertson was on top wrestling, so I was feeling pretty good. And then I turned on like the last 2 minutes of the final round, and again, it was kind of the same thing. Robertson was either on top or, not getting hit by Lemos. And then sure enough, I think it was 29-28 Robertson. Lemos just doesn't seem to have the greatest fight IQ. The striking is there, but yeah, I don't know. And she's 38 now, so definitely probably not in the title picture here on out. Definitely Julian Robertson's biggest win of her career. She'll keep rising up the ranks, but the striking definitely needs to improve. Again, I didn't watch a ton of this fight, so I can't tell you like how good or bad she looked in the striking, because most of the times when I was looking at my phone watching it, it was either her on top or them scrambling, or maybe if they're on the feet, Lemos they were just jabbing at each other. So I didn't watch a ton of this fight, so I can't really give much of a breakdown, but the only thing that matters to me is that we hit our bet and Julian Robertson gets the win by decision. And then the main event, I don't know why I was trusting a 41-year-old chin. I just thought if this dude can't get put out by Ilia Topuria, he can survive against anyone, but I know that fight was a few years ago. Kevin Vallejos is a fucking stud, man. At the end of the day, we had him by decision, but the KO, TKO, or decision line was minus 300. That was a big parlay piece for me, and it hit absolutely no sweat. Knocks him out in the first round. So he's going to be ranked, what was Emmett, 11? So Vallejos is going to be at least number 11. I think he's top 10. Either give him the Jean Silva rematch now or make him fight another ranked featherweight, and then maybe him and Jean Silva can fight in a fight night main event, or dare I say title eliminator already. I mean, maybe jumping the gun there, but Vallejos looks fucking awesome. He seems like a really nice guy too. This is a dude, he's young. I'm really gonna be rooting for him. Super fun to watch. Josh Emmett is now gatekeeper status, and it looks like maybe the chin in the older age is starting to go, but Vallejos, man, fucking stud. I mean, that's really all you got to say about that guy. So, yeah, at the end of the day, man, some of our reads weren't great, but, a lot of our bigger parlay pieces that I had and some of the method of victories did go our way pretty favorably. So, Yeah, we made out really good. Really, really happy. Back-to-back weeks of plus over $100. So hopefully we keep it going. It's UFC London this week. I already have one bet placed for UFC London. It's my three most confident guys parlayed together. Um, but yeah, same thing for me. I'm gonna do my research. Listen to a lot of breakdowns and insights from other channels that I respect to see what they think of it. And we'll start to look at the books here for UFC London. So hopefully we make it 3 cards in a row. But either way, we're going to keep watching, keep having fun with it, and just going along for the ride. All right. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, I always say this: don't take anything as gambling advice. But if you were riding with me on some of these, hopefully we cash together. If you're fading me on some of the stuff that I got wrong, good for you. The better man won. But hopefully everybody made out in the green, and we're all feeling good on this beautiful Sunday. So anyway, that'll do it for me. I'll put this out, Monday, probably Monday as always, and then I'll do the same thing I did this week. We'll just have a video pure picks on who I think's going to win and lose on UFC London, and then at the end of the week we'll do the betting breakdown. All right. So until next time, see you guys later.